Well, Craig, the number 4 trained fully today. Will Braden Maynard play on Saturday night?
No. I was just over there and catching up with our physios and high performance team. They just think it's just not quite there. So are we being conservative? Maybe, but he won't play this week.
Will he be on next week?
I said that last week. I got to be careful because I thought so, but there's an assess for a reason, and you've got to get through the full range of training, and he did that. Just not quite there.
Where was he short flight?
Well, he's done the load. He's done a lot of the load, and if anything, they've sort of overloaded him a little bit. He's a bit sore, or just general soreness, and we just don't want to put any stress on his body to potentially create other things. So again, maybe we're conservative, but he won't play this week.
Would you consider managing a few experienced players like Pendlebury, Howe, Memory?
We did a training today. Some guys didn't do some of the loads of training, and then we'll be a bit strategic around what that looks like, but not this week.
How much of a buzz is Charlie West? His inclusion, is that brought into the group this week?
Yeah, I don't know if you caught the wind of the announcement. He was pretty raw, and did you see him ring his dad? He calls his dad mate. I thought that was pretty interesting. But he's got a great energy about him, and he's clearly playing some great footy. Like his 6 goals is one thing, but he's been doing repeated high performance at VFL level, and he deserves his opportunity.
What's his biggest strengths?
His contested marking is his biggest strength. He's got sticky fingers, and he's only about Cheika's size, so about 193. So he's not huge in terms of what the key forward prototype is these days. But he's got sticky fingers.
How hard has it been to just hold him back? He's such a raw talent. He's been delivering the performances in the VFL, but just to keep him waiting. Yeah,
it's been harder for me, to be honest. He's pretty chilled. He goes, whenever. I'll just take my chance when I get it. Well, hopefully he does take his chance, but he's got an opportunity to take VFL form into AFL, and historically, if you play above the level at VFL, it stacks up. But again, AFL's a big jump.
You set up to last week's match, you'll fight for Nick Daicos in relation to his tagging and his treatment. Have you spoken to the league or anyone else about his treatment? Yeah, I did. I spoke to Dan Richardson earlier in the week, and nothing untoward. He rang me about another issue, and I just wonder what your take is on what's going on. I spoke to the umpires today at training, and we don't want to create a story that's not there. It's just an awareness of how they see things, and we're here to protect our talent in the game, and Nick's someone we want to make sure we support. And I thought, and in hindsight and review of this performance, we were wrapped how we looked after Nick.
West Coast considering deploying a tag against Nick Daicos. Is this something that you sort of expect to happen? And I guess the more he's tagged, does he get better off it?
Well, I suppose it's just the journey of Nick, isn't it? Like every opposition wants to take something away from Nick, and for a couple of weeks it seemed like they took a little bit away from Nick. But I said after the game, this is not the first game that he's had 30 possessions and been tagged. He's been doing that for 70 odd games, getting tagged regularly and high performing. Just thought we supported him a bit better, and he's a pretty hard player to tag. His running capability is huge.
What was the feedback from the umpires and from Richard just about some of the stuff that you wouldn't expect to see in the tagging role, like the kneeing and the hitting and that sort of stuff? Yeah,
without oversharing, I think there's a level of eyes on him, and I was pleased to hear that. There's 4 umpires. They're looking for things, particularly around stoppage, and it's just nice to hear that.
Well, he played with a lot of legends who had tags themselves. How does he navigate a tag compared to some of your teammates 20 years ago? Yeah,
I think Simon Black was the best I'd seen, and in my time, and again, I'm probably oversharing, but I sort of gave it a little bit of things that Blackie used to do to Nick, and everyone's just trying to support him, and he's a high-end talent, Nick, and this is a progression. Even chatting to Pendles. Pendles went through this early in his career. You have to go through this. Bonapelli's still doing it a couple of weeks ago. The best players have to cope with this, and this is part of Nick's journey right now.
Are you a better team when he's being tagged?
Maybe, arguably at times we are, yeah. And that's the debate, isn't it? And I said here a couple of weeks ago, it's interesting if you tag someone, what it costs your team, and we're trying to manipulate it as much as we can.
What are you expecting from West Coast? Obviously, no Oscar Allen. They've got a stack of injuries, out of form. What do you expect from them?
I'm not sure if they're out of form. I don't, we've been watching the last month in particular. I have. They pushed Geelong right to the line, and the Cats got over them in the last quarter, and I watched them just go down to North Melbourne. They should have won that game, had more scoring shots, and then they're really competing hard. They had a bad quarter against Carlton earlier, and then that game was pretty even after that. They've changed their game style a little bit. They look a lot like Melbourne. Maybe Minnie's influence at Melbourne for a year or two has influenced them. They're defending the ground better by playing a lot more contest. So we're expecting a high contest game. We're going to make sure we bring our mouth guards and ready to pull up our socks because it'll be a contest.
What's the challenge of keeping these guys humming for the next 9 weeks? I mean, not to reference 2023 too much, but the preparation for a final series, will you implement some of the same programs given, you've got 9 weeks now to prepare for a top 4 spot and a qualifying final?
This is all rehearsal for what you're hoping to be in September. That's real, but we're not in September yet. This is not even July, so we've got to make sure we're playing footy in June, and June is this week contest, and we stay present to that. We can only control what we can. We want to get our processes right. Ultimately, there'll come a time where your processes will get challenged, and week after week, we're just going to make sure we're at our best in terms of controlling what we can in the moment. Not too far ahead, mate.
So does 23 help you then know, okay, with a month out, we did this, that worked for us, that didn't work? It will help you prepare for this year?
I think all experiences help you. Hence, we've got 400 game play. I'm sure that helps us, on the ground, and still side bottom the same. Experience absolutely helps you, but it just gets you to the moment, and every moment can be different in some degrees. But having lived it might help it when we get there.
Nick spoke yesterday about Nick Daicos possibly about Tasmania.
Yeah, I heard this. If Nick goes to Tassie, I'm going with him. It's a double deal. Yeah.
Not taking it seriously?
Oh, not yet. I love Nick. Please don't leave. Yeah.
Any other changes like to the back six or up front?
Yeah, Charlie Dean will come in for Billy Frampton, and it's again great reward. He's been playing enormous footy at VFL for the whole year, and it's hard to tell players like him every week, you're not even in the squad, and he's having career best form at VFL. Now, again, there's a gap, so he gets an opportunity to perform at AFL.
Matt Rao called you flight
He did. How'd you know that? Oh, was that just
in the waters?
Yeah, no, he did. He gave me a call on Monday, and I think that's a sign of his character, and that's hence why we want to be talking to players like him. Bring quality players to your footy club, but guys with high character, and he's definitely got that. And we wish him well for his next 2 years, and we'll see what happens after that.